In this tutorial, you will learn Spring Security CSRF attack prevention. CSRF means cross-site request forgery attack. Is a type of security vulnerability that occurs when a malicious website or attacker tricks a user into unintentionally making an unwanted request to a different website where the user is authenticated. And in this tutorial, you will learn what is CSRF attack and how it works in detail, how Spring Security provides CSRF attack protection, analyzing CSRF on default Spring Security login page, how to obtain CSRF token. Then we will look at making post requests with CSRF enabled. In this section, I will show you how CSRF attack works with pictures example. Imagine this is the office where you manage data. You come to the office and then log into the website where you used to manage the data. It takes you to the page where you manage data. You start working, then you receive email or maybe a message prompted click me. So you click the message and it takes you to another page, and this new page that it takes you to have malicious code. Then this malicious code is executed on behalf of you. It calls some endpoint because you already log in, so it just call an endpoint on your behalf and execute some post request or delete. So now you have been attacked using the CSRF attack, then after you have been attacked, maybe your data is deleted. Okay, so you regret going to this website or clicking this website. Okay, this is what we mean by CSRF attack with simple example. Okay, so as a developer, you need to prevent this attack from the happening. So it is not work of the user to take care of this. So you have to prevent this from the face inside your code. And this is why what I will show you using Spring Security CSRF attack prevention. So next thing, we will look at how CSRF attack prevention works with Spring Security. In this section, we will look at how Spring Security provides CSRF attack prevention. So first, before we talk about how Spring Security provides CSRF attack prevention, you have to know that to interact with server using HTTP, then HTTP defines a set of methods that are used to specify the action. So first we have mutating and non-mutating HTTP operations, as you see in the pictures. We have mutating, which include post, put, patch, and delete. First, what is mutating? Mutating operations are those HTTP methods that indicate a change or modification in the server state. We use mutating to delete, to update, to have to post some data. So we also have non-mutating operation, which this one we are not using it to change data. Non-mutating operation are HTTP method that should not change server state when invoked multiple times with the same parameters. So we have get, head, option, and trace. So the next, we will look at how Spring Security provide CSRF attack prevention. First, the most common method, which is HTTP method, is post get. We use post to send some data and get to see the page at least once. So this is how CSRF attack prevention works in the Spring Security, or I will set how Spring Security provide the CSRF attack prevention. So when the user first open the page, the server generate a Csrf token. So this is the client example, the picture above, client request which sent a get request. We have get to http, which is www.home.com, and at the first request, then Spring Security generate token first request, which is get request. So it generates some token and store in session. So after generating this token, the next thing you make a request, you have to provide this token to the Spring, to the server, so that it can identify you. So when you can make a post request, example, you have to provide this token. So we have this token here, and when you provide this token, you can access the resources you want. But if you fail to provide this, you will not access any resources. You will have 4 or 3, which is forbidden. Okay, you cannot access. At first, using get, you generate the Spring Security generate some token, and then if you will make a post request, you have to give this token before you have access to resources. So this is how Spring Security provides these. So if a malicious code decide to execute and call some endpoint, it won't know the token, because the token changes whenever you make a request. The token changes. Okay, so in the last example we talked in our Spring Security tutorial, which I encourage you to watch, we discuss how filter chain intercept the request. So the Csrf filter intercept the request and generate token and add it to the Csrf request attribute. But you have to know that this Csrf filter is just one of the filters that we have, because we have many filters that intercept and perform some operation to the request before passing it to the next filter, which I give an example in my last Spring Security tutorial, which I encourage you to watch. This is a client request, so the client request have to pass through this chain, which is Csrf filter, and to the next filter. So when passing through this chain, which is Csrf filter, it generates some token and store in the session. The Csrf attribute we have is the underscore, then Csrf with small letter. This is the Csrf attribute, and the value of the attribute is the token that it will be generated. And we also have the header, which is the header is in X hyphen, then we have Csrf token. Okay, so this is what how Spring Security provide Csrf attack prevention. So the next thing we will do is to show you how this works in example using the code. Now let's create a new project in the new Spring Starter project. Here I have the group name as Coding Techniques, followed by the package as Coding Techniques as well. You can name it the name you like. So let's name the project as Csrf attack prevention tutorial. Okay, so and I will name the description as Spring Security tutorial. Okay, so here we finish adding. Here we have Marvin, and the language is Java. I also have the Java version. Here is 11. Let's add the dependency we will be working with. So click next. The first thing I will need is Spring Web followed by the Spring Security dependency. I also need Spring Boot DevTool for the live reload. So I need a Thymeleaf again, where we can use our own custom post request that we will do using Thymeleaf. So this is what our project needs. The next thing we will do is click finish. Okay, now here is our project starting. Importing get. Okay, so here is the project, and let's go to the starter class. Here is our starter class. Okay, so the first thing we will do is we will create a configuration class with one user using user details service and then password encoder. Then we will have the authorization using the Spring Security, which is filter chain. Now let's create a new package. Let's name the package security config or just config. Okay, in this class we will define a single user and have the authorizations. Okay, here is our Spring Security config class. Now let's create our custom definition, and the name of the class will be Spring Security config or just security config, since it is our custom configuration, which we will override the default configuration security config. So let's click finish. So let's add configuration. Okay, we have add configuration. So the next thing we will do is we will create a bin of user details and user detail service, and have method public user details service, then user detail service. Okay, so in this class we will create a single user using in-memory user details manager. So let's create this. So we need in-memory user details manager. So let's name the variable as manager. This name is too long. Let's replace it with just var keyword equal to in-memory user details manager. Here we have to provide the new keyword, and then so let's have something like this. Okay, so first let's create a user using the user details type, and then let's name this user just we have a single user. We need a user class of the Spring Security, which is Spring Framework Security core user details, and then we will access with username. So let me add my name as the username Aliyu. So and then I also need the password. Let me add the password as 1234. Okay, so and the last method I will call here is build. So let's link this to our in-memory user details manager using the manager variable. Then we will access the method create user, and inside this user we will have this new user. So what it will return here is the manager. The method will return the manager. So this is what we have. The next thing we will create is the password encoder. Here we are using plain text password encoder. So let's create a bin of type password encoder. We will create add bin public password encoder. then we will return the let's return the implementation of the password encoder that support plain text, and this is called no op password encoder. It has no constructor. We will call the get instance. So this we have this bin for the password encoder because we have to provide, because we are using plain text. If we are using the by crypt, we will also provide by crypt. Okay, so the next thing we will do is another bin of the security filter chain. So first we need a public security filter chain, and then here we will pass the HTTP security followed by the variable just HTTP. So HTTP. Okay, so let's surround this, and then let's see what we will do next. Okay, the first thing, we will access the method using the HTTP. We have Csrf. You see we have this method. We have the one provide with the lambda expression. Let me use this, and we will pass the lambda using the variable c, and then let access. We have disable. Okay, so some developers are using this disable so many times, but they don't know how it works. When we disable this, by default Csrf is enabled by default. So if we disable this, it won't generate the code or the token I explained earlier in the starting of the tutorial. So by default is enabled. If we disable this, it won't generate code. It just let anything pass without using the security filter chain. As I said, we have the security filter chain. Let's set Csrf, and then we also have another filter in the next. Let's name the filter just order. So when we disable this, if it comes to this, it won't generate token. It will just pass. It will just accept any request from anywhere without this verification and validation. So now we don't need this disable. We will just leave it as default. So when we did not call this method, that means we are using the enable. So because by default is enable. So now let me delete this and add the form login, where we can inspect and check how Spring Security, because the login page that provide by the Spring Security include the Csrf token, which is hidden. So let's do this next. HTTP dot, first we have, let me access the authorize HTTP request and authenticate all endpoint. Let's name this authorize. So lambda expiration, and let's call this authorize again to call any request is authenticated. By doing this, we authenticate any request. So any request need authentication. So first I will close this, and this will throw an exception. So let add throws declaration. You see we have throws declaration, and the next thing I need is the form login. Let me call the form login, because we will use the login page to access. We have the type it that has no lambda expiration. We also have the type with the lambda. So let me use the type with the lambda, and then call form, and then dot. So we will just access the successful URL after we log in. We have successful forward. We have default. Let me access default success URL, and I will have some endpoint home. So let me just go to the controller and create this endpoint, but before going, let me return the last, which is http build http dot, so not this one, http we have dot build. Okay, so this is the final implementation of the Spring Security config. So the next thing, let's define the endpoint that we just added here, which is home, and this will be added in the controller class. Let me create new package called controller cell. Okay, in this package let me have a class called user controller. Okay, we have user controller. Okay, and this we will annotate this with as response at rest controller. It will, the method will just return a text that we have, or what the method will return, we will have it in the view. So let me add public. We already named it home, public string home. Okay, so this will return the string home. Let's name it home like this. So and we will have a get mapping of the home. So let me add this home. So this is what we have so far, and we will be using the default login page by calling this form login. So let me run the application and check for the token. And so let me run the application. Let's go to the starter class. So go to run as Spring Boot app. So we will launch this. Okay, so here is the application is starting. So we have the application started at the port 8080. Now let's go to the browser and try to access the home, which is localhost home. So it will take us to the login page, and we already give this as Aliyu, the username. Okay, so it is not taking us to this. Let me refresh. Okay, let's check the project again. We have this. We also have the default successful URL return the build. We have no problem here. So let me try localhost in different page home. So here I entered this. Let me add the face Aliyu and the 1 2 3 4. So we successfully enter this home. Okay, now what we will do next, after calling this login page, this is not our concern. So it works successfully. So let's inspect the login page, localhost login. So we have this login page. To inspect this login page, let's go to inspect. Just right click and go to inspect. So we have this Chrome, and then here is the page. so the presentation of this page using the HTML. So we have the head. Let's open this. Here is the head, and then let's open the body is open, but we have a container div. Let's open this container. You see we have the post method, which is the post request, and let's open this again. Okay, so after having the, let me show you, we have this input username and password, but we also have another input which is hidden. The input is hidden, so and here is the value that we have, which is the Csrf value that we have. So we will look at how we will do this custom, so we can have our own custom input using this, which we can try to access with the Csrf enable. So now here are we. So now we see the token which is provided or generated by the Spring Security. Now I want to create a filter which is custom filter. We talked about the filter. So now I want to create a custom filter that will show us, we will make so many requests so that we can see it in the logger. By this you can understand it more, how it generated different token. So as I said earlier, we have a series of filters, and these filters, let me have Csrf like this, and we have another filter cost, and have some filters, other filters. So to add this and the filter, so we have filter after and we have filter before. So if we added our custom filter that will log the token before the Csrf, we won't see this token because we add it after. Let's assume that we have our custom filter here, custom filter here. So if we add the custom filter here, we won't see the Csrf token. But what if we add this filter in front of this? So you see, if we add this filter here, we will see the token, we will log the token. So now how we will add this filter? So first thing, when we try this HTTP and then access, you see we have add filter after, which is after another filter, and then we provide this filter. We also add filter at, which is we will override and have the filter at the position of another filter, and we will all have add filter before. So which method we will use is add filter after. So then we provide the class that we want our custom filter to be added after it. Okay, so now we the next thing we also have the filter interface, which we will use to implement, which we will implement in our custom filter. So let me delete this. We will use this filter so that we have the logic. Now let's create another package, which is class. First, let's create package and service and have this custom filter. We have package and followed by service. Now we have service filter and service package. Now let's create new class custom filter or custom token logger. Custom token logger. So this is a filter class, custom filter class. Okay, I will change this name to custom filter logger, so whatever. So now let's implement this filter. We have this Jakarta servlet, and then let's implement the method. Okay, you see we have this method. Okay, we have the servlet request, we have servlet response, and then we have the filter chain. We will use this filter chain to pass the request to another filter. So in this case we are just using this request because during the request we will have this token. Okay, so let's use this request. We have a method get attribute, and inside this we will have the attribute is the underscore csrf. Okay, we have the attribute like this, and where we will store this, we will store this in the csrf token. We have csrf token, so we have web csrf. We will use this, and then let name it just token, and then equal to this. So you see we have an error because we have to cast this to the csrf token. Okay, this is the correct implementation. Now we will access the get token and create a logger. So now let's create a logger face, logger in this class login. So we use logger to log in the information in the console. So here we will use logger login, this one, and we will get the instance using the get logger, the instance of the logger class. And here we will pass the name of this class, costume token logger, and then get. We will use the first, we will need the class. So we by adding this class we will have reference to the costume token logger, and then we will add another method get name. So this get name provide the information. Method we will do is we will use this logger to access the information, or which is we will use to log in, for which we will pass the message here. So here let me add the, let me just name it as csrf generated token. When we run this application and make the request, we will have this token. Let me use this token dot get token. So we need to add concatenation here. So here are we, and the last thing we will pass this to another filter. So here is the chain. We will use the method chain dot do filter, and then we will pass the request automatically, pass automatically, and let add this add service. Okay, so we are just using this to see the filter. Now I save this, and we will go back to the security config and our own filter that we just created using the HTTP. So here we'll pass our new token logger, which is a filter custom token logger. Here is the class, and this parameter I will pass the csrf filter, which is the one that I want this costume to be after it. Okay, csrf filter here is, and we call the class. Okay, that is all for this. Now we will see this in the logger. Let me rerun this application. Okay, and we will make a get request, and once we make a get request, we will see this in the logger and the token changes. Okay, so the application started. Now here is our logger now without Csrf token, but let's go and make a request. So let's go back to the page. Okay, so now we make a request to the login. Okay, let me check. So you see we have our own custom logger, and here is the Csrf token generate that we have. I write this, so and followed by the token. You see we have a very long token. So let's check after making another request. Now let me access this Aliyu 1234. Okay, so now I accesses this. I think this is another request. Let's check again. You see we have this from the service package custom logger it generated. So this is what it generated, and we won't make any post request without providing this. So how we will provide this? Then we will use a call in the terminal. Using the call in the terminal, we will make a request and post request and provide this. So if we make requests without providing this, we won't get access to this. Okay, so now how we will make the request? Now let's create a post request phase and try to access without providing this. You will see we will have forbidden. Now let's go to the controller. Okay, so let's enter this. Let me have add post mapping. So this is a post request, and then let's have this as just hello, and it will return string of hello. I will just change this to hello, and I will also change this to hello. Okay, now that we create this hello, now we will create a form inside this home get mapping, and we will change this address controller to the @controller, because we will not return text now. We will just return an HTML page. Okay, so we will add response body to the post mapping, so that we just want it to return the hello, and the other one we want it to return HTML page. Now let's go and create the HTML page. Okay, let's go to the other HTML file and then create the home that we have. We will return this. Okay, now let's click finish. Okay, so now the page is generating. We have this page, and then let's name this title as just form. Okay, now it is not responding, so it will come back soon. Okay, so we have this. Let's name this as form, and then here we will create our form. So we will start with the attribute or HTML tag form, and then we have the action as hello, which is the hello is our post mapping that we have. Okay, so now let's create the method. It is post, so we use this to make the post request. Okay, now I will add input with hello. So let's add input with hello. So I will add the type of this input as text. Okay, let me add as text. Okay, let's add the text, and the name of this input will be hello, and we will use this hello to log in the console so that we can see the message. So you can see if we did not provide the Csrf token, we will not access this post method that we just created. Okay, now we name this hello, and then the next thing we will do is to create a submit button. Okay, let's add the submit button using the button, and then the type is submit. Okay, now let's add the text of the button, which will be visible, submit. Okay, so now we added the submit. Okay, so now let's go back to the user controller, and in this user controller we will create a logger as we did earlier in the service class for the logger. Okay, so now let's call the get logger, and then after calling this get logger, we will call the user controller. By calling this class, we will have the reference to the user controller. Get name, we will have the information or the full name of the class, including the package name. So now we will create a logger info where we will print the hello in the console, and then we will have the message as hello. Okay, we will need also add request param, but let's finish this. We will need add request param, which will get the name from the request, and the name that we have is hello. Okay, so now we will add the string. So you see we have the name hello in the form, so we will use the add request param to get the form, to get the name hello. Okay, we have string hello, and then by using this we will pass the as parameter hello, so it will use this name to get the what we have in the input. So let's add the hello here so that we will print it in the terminal. Okay, this is what we provide here. We have the form inside the home get mapping. We will see the form at least once, and then make a post request. Now let's add with the name that we provide, Aliyu, and then the password as 1234. Okay, so now let's log in. Okay, so this is too small, we have to zoom this. Okay, so let's zoom it so that it will be clear and you can understand the example better. Okay, now let's add the name and submit. We will have white label error, which is 403 forbidden, we cannot access. We write hello John, so you see we have 403. The type is forbidden, we will not access this. Okay, so now to access this we have to provide the Csrf token. This is what I discussed earlier in the first presentation of the course. So 403 is forbidden. Now how we will provide this token. So we need to add another. Let's go back to the home. We need to provide an input. Okay, the input type, I will just make the input type visible in this case. Input. Okay, let me have this type equal to text, and then we also have the name. Okay, what will be the name here is the attribute of the request, which is Csrf. First we need this, and then let's have Csrf dot get parameter as the name. In this case we need this th to, okay, we need a method get, no parameter name, without the get parameter name. Okay, so and we also need the value, so we want the value to be visible inside this input. So let me just break this, and in this case what will be the value is th the value, and then we will provide this attribute. So the value is the Csrf token, Csrf dot token. So now we will have the Csrf token visible inside this input that we just provided. Okay, in this case we will make it just visible using the type text. Okay, this is what we have so far, and let's rerun the application and see our work. The application is starting. Okay, now we need to log in again. It will take us back to the login page. Okay, let's log in again. So we are now back to the form. So here is what it generated. You see the code. So if we submit using this code, we will have a success. You see we have our submit button. Now let's go back to this. You see here is the last generated token that we have. Okay, it started with HWX. Okay, so let's go back here. You see we have it here, HWX. So now if we add a name like hello Aliyu, let's try to submit this. You see we have hello that we have earlier, and if you go to this logger, you see we have hello Aliyu. That is because we generated this token. Okay, now let me show you something. The difference between our own and the Spring Security one is just this: they make it a hidden, so you won't see this, so no need for a user to see this. Now let's refresh this. Let's go back to the hub. So you see we don't have this, but if we submit the name like hello Ramesh, let's submit this. Okay, we have hello, and we will have hello Ramesh, and let's try another name, hello Yasir, and let's submit this. You see we have the returning of the post mapping, and we have hello Yasir. Okay, this is how Csrf token works, and I hope you will subscribe this channel for more videos on the Spring Security, the Spring Boot framework itself, and other languages with the framework. Thank you for watching.